So hi there and welcome back. So this course video is going to be about a project which is going to be an automotive car purchasing app totally and freshly built with Angular and NgRx. Now, before starting this thing, I want to really tell you that we are going to use the Redux for NgRx with Angular. Angular 16 is going to be for this course. Alongside, we will be choosing RxJS and also will build upon some UI. So we will be needing some UI so that we can implement those UI elements into our project and get started. Now, though, for this course, I will be using PrimeNG as my tool, but if you don't know PrimeNG, no problem. The main scenario for this course would be Angular and NgRx, how you deal with these things. The UI library will be PrimeNG. So with this, let's quickly go to our terminal, and over here, we'll try to create a project. Who am I? I'm Siddhartha Verma, and I really love technologies, and I'm here for you so that I can help you to grow in Angular and all the technologies which I can offer. So here now I will do ng new automotive car purchase app, AWP app. Let's hit enter. And as soon as we create enter, yeah, we do need the routing, and for this I will be using SCSS. Hit enter. Now, when you hit enter, you will have this automotive car purchase app where we have few of the files generated for us. And the command ng new automotive car purchase app is used to create a new Angular project. Now, if you are not familiar entirely with all the Angular semantics and all the tooling, do check it out our Angular course for this, or you can also comment down in the description so that I can help you with proper learning into this tech world. Now let's wait till the time this get installed and let me show you the extra functionalities what I will be supplying with this course. Now if we go to our browser really quick, let me just open it in a private window. Yeah, that's cool. We are going to use PrimeNG with this one. So for this, we need npm install PrimeNG. Now PrimeNG is a Angular most popular UI suites, and I will be using this throughout my course. If you want to learn PrimeNG, you can also comment down in the description below. Now, with Angular, you must know TypeScript. And if we see in our package.json file, we see that we have the latest Angular 16 alongside the TypeScript version 5.1.3. Now, Angular is on our latest version, Angular 17, but for now, we will be continuing with 16. 17 is a totally new remap of Angular, so we will be discussing that in a new course. Now, if we can hit the get started, we need to now copy this command and directly we can come up to our terminal and for this course we can just do it something like this, and this will then install PrimeNG to our systems. So you can see that some 8 packages are added to this project. Now with this PrimeNG we need to add some stylings to our Angular JSON file. For this I will be then turning to my Angular JSON file over here, and here you need to go to the architecture, this file, and in the architecture you will then find a styles file. Over here just go something like this and you have onboarded your styles really quick. Do make sure that this is a JSON file, so JSON file be shouldn't have any commas towards the very end of your item in the list. It should be purely like this. We can close it now. Now we have everything which we want, and together with us, we also want to now have NgRx installed to our computer, to our project. So if we go to the NgRx docs really quick, we can now hit get started, and the get started will then lead us for the proper installation of this architecture. So for this, we can do NgRx add the rate latest. Let's hit enter. Uh, Surely, for now, I can do npm I, and this will then install NgRx store to my package. One package was added. Along with this, because I also want to have the effects module, so I will also do the installation for the effects, and the command for that would be this one. So it's npm space I and the NgRx effects. Along with this, I also would need the dev tools. So for the dev tools, I can go for the installation, and now I will also add the dev tools for this. So it will be npm I, and I can do the installation for this as well. Let's install this one. Cool. Now with the cls command, we can clear our project, and if you want, if you're on a Mac, you can use clear command to clear everything. Now, once we are ready for this thing, now what we want to do is we want to first of all run our project. So to run this project, we want to run ngserve, and this will then start running this uh, course. And before that, we need to again do few things. Actually, these all things would should have been run not here, but inside this file. So I will go and under the dependencies, I will place those elements over here because of my bad area where I put it over here. Let's just clear this thing. And for this, we need to, what I will do, I will open folder and I will then go into this and then I can select this. Really good. And just what you need to do now is you need to go to the terminal and do npmi. Let's hit enter. Sorry, npmi dash dash f to force everything. And now each and everything will be installed. Again, there might be some conflicts because you are using Angular 16 and we are using the latest version of different libraries, third-party libraries. So this can be there, but don't worry, everything is fine. Now you can run ngserve to serve this Angular application. And with this, we started getting the cache files to make everything really smooth. And now we can serve this application. HTTP. And with this, we can hit localhost 4200. Now this is our app, which looks currently something like this. And here we will start building up. Now, obviously, I will then run it in a full screen mode. And for this, let's start. First of all, we need to think how our component should look like. So inside the app, I'm now going to create a folder which is known as components, like this. Now in this components, I'm then going to think of what all things I need. Okay, what all things I can have. I need a landing page. Okay, so for this, let's first of all remove everything from here. We are not concerned. And in the app module, everything looks good. Everything looks good. And here also everything looks good. Now, as I'm going to make a landing page, so for this, let's do one thing. What I really plan to do is, let's say, first of all, I want to create some new components to it. So what I will do, I will just do like this. And now let's think what all components we can have. So the first component for me would be a car landing page. So idea like, okay, what all things we are offering, something like that. So I will do ng generate 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 a component. We want to create a component, and the component will reside in it's src, and then you have the app generate component and where you want that component. So it's src app, and under app you have components, and inside the components I want one landing page. So it can be a landing page. Let's hit enter, and we should now have oops directly like that. Yeah, this update, and I can now want this one for sure. It's just inside the components. I need this landing file, and if you can see our module file, it should be from the components landing page component. Okay. Now in your component file, you can create a new index.ts because I wanna do a path aliasing for this. So what I can do now, and another file could go inside this component. So let's copy this, and over here I'm going to copy that really quick. And let's do good. Let now now we have the landing page. Okay, and with this I think I'm also going to create but for now let's have this landing page onboarded. So now here I have the landing page, and I'm going to export default this component. Okay, because just one thing I'm going to export from this area, so it will be somewhere around export default as landing page from landing page, something like this. And once we have this thing just like this, we can then go to our this area where we can export everything from, and like this we can go on for the landing page just like this. Now once this thing is also imported, we can then come up here, and then we don't want to absolutely declare something like this for now, but the main strategy for this would be that this is going to be a routing file. Now if I can go to my app module.component.typescript file, here I want to create a route. So the routing path would be path, and this is going to be totally blank, and for this the component would be our landing page component, if you get what I'm trying to say. For the blank, I'm going to load my this file. So if I can do a refresh for this file, if I can then go over here. Now in order to show this route, what I need to do is I need to have a router outlet over here. So it's the router outlet which I need. So as soon as I do this and I try to write something and then save, you see this, I'm on my landing page currently. Okay, I'm on my landing page. Now, previously, I told you that, oh, by mistake, we toggled this. I hope so. I know how to close this bar. Yeah. Okay. 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 Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going for the components, and here I need to now decide how my look would look like for the automotive page. Now, in this order, what I'm going to do is I am also going to have Prime Flex for this is the UI utility I'm using for this project. So with this, I can now also get this thing installed to my system where I just want to run npm install primeflex. And this should also get installed to my system. And then I just wanna let me just do it with a F flag again. Some flags are conflicting, but no worries. This will get installed. And now everything is onboarded. Now, onto my landing page, I want to decide how my landing page is going to look like. So let's say, and with this, I'm also going to have some Google Fonts. So let's say this is my Google Fonts, something like this. And I can also browse my fonts like this. And for this, I want to see something like auto purchase. This is going to be the name right now for the application what I'm trying to build. So from here, this kind of area, you can totally go for uh, which kind of exact font you like. You can see there are tons and tons of fonts which you can go for. Okay, from here, so it's like we have different fonts. So the one you like, you can go absolutely for that. But it should be something like which represents what you are making. So that's really important. You should understand whatever you're doing. So I will go with this one, auto purchase, this font. Yeah, now you can totally change whenever you like. So, and now I will copy this. You see this one. Let's dismiss this and let's yeah, let's copy this thing. And you can now go to your index.html file really quick, and here you can link this. Okay, now you have Google Fonts, and here I can now go to my styles.scss file, and here you can do global, and then you can paste like all of my styles will now get this as a font family. Perfect. Now that totally depends where you want to use this, but I don't want this everywhere. I just want this where I will be uh, putting out this style as dot heading. Only the dot heading will receive this one. Okay, will come up again for whatever reasons we want to provide another styles, but for now we are good with this. Let's check if we are getting those responses. So if we can go to our landing page again here, let's say I'm having a h1 and the class is set to heading something like this. And now let's see if that font is working for us. So it's auto purchase. Yeah, the font is really working for us. I'm really happy with this. So auto. So a really cool name we can come up. So I will call this as automotive automotive chase. Auto chase. I can call it as auto chase. Okay. So we have this thing right now. So now for my main heading, I can now create another component which is going to deal me as a top navigation for the file. So here I can now do ng G for generate, C for component, and inside this components folder, I want a top navigation component. So it's top navigation component. Let's hit enter. And now we have this top navigation component. Now, this top navigation component is again going to get the components. So what we will do, first of all, we need to make it as a default export. Now you can just copy this component like this, and over here let's try to create another index.ts file just like this really quick. It should be an index.ts file because we are concentrating on path aliases. I will explain you in a bit what is path aliases, but here I want that it should be exported default as top navigation component. So this means whatever I'm trying to export from this, it should be defaulted as to this name. So from, and and you don't need to put the extension .ts because already our component, our Angular compiler, when extracting this, is going to put .ts over here. So you don't need to put that thing. Just keep it really simple. Now we can directly do something like this: export everything from, and that from is going to be top navigation. Now with this, if we go to our app module, we can now change the export and we can do something like this from the components, export this from the component. Feels really good. Okay. Now it's our duty to make a top nav, and that top navigation we are going to do soon in our next video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So hi there and welcome back. So I'm Siddhartha Verma, and in the previous video we saw the entire installation and the setup process and the component creation process for our project, which was named for us as, if I can show you, as let me just really go to my file and auto chase. So this auto chase project now needs a top navigation, which we saw in the previous video. We installed the PrimeFlex for our UI utility. For the UI component library, we installed the PrimeNG, and for our store, we installed the NgRx. Okay, and the entire project is going to be in Angular with TypeScript. So it's going to be really cool, but everything what you see on the screen will be purely on the UI perspective. There's no backend to it. If you really want a backend, you can try it yourself, or you can further give us some feedback so that we can also create this entire project with using a backend. Now, coming back to our code and screens over here, we have this top navigation, but this top navigation is going to be a part of our landing page. So for this, what we need to do is we have to select the app top navigation, and in the file, we can now call this file something like this. Now, if you want to use this over here, this landing page should also be declared. Okay, should also be declared into your app.module file. Sorry, in your app.module file. Yeah, correct. So I will then also import this from the components, and now you can use this. So whatever I now just try to develop for this component, you can see that. Now in the top navigation, I'm now going to create a div, and this div is going to receive some classes, and the class is flex row, and it's going to be justify content content and it's going to be space between. For that I will do between, and the alignment of the items is going to be in center, items center. Now these classes are from PrimeFlex, but don't worry, if you want to understand all of those technologies, you can always comment down and we'll try to create a new course for that. Now in the H1, now I want to do something like auto chase. Okay, and let's quickly hit save for this project. And now let's quickly go to our course, and you see this auto chase. Now let's quickly split this window side by side so that I can show you how you deal with such scenarios. Okay. Okay, cool. And also at the same time, I can format this. Okay. So this is our app, which is auto chase. Okay. Now, what all things do we need over here? We need, obviously, we have our logo here. We then also need let's say a profile, avatar, where you can see your photo. So for the layered perspective, what I will now do is I can go to my components, where I have a component which is named as avatar. So we can see where is that component avatar over here, and here is the idea of how avatar looks like. So for this, what I will now do is I will copy this avatar module and avatar, just the avatar module, because I just need one. And then in the app.module, I will try to import this like this. Now this module should be always listed to our imports module, just like this. And now we can save everything. And now into our files, we can use this. So in order to use this, we can now, for example, bring something like this. And over here, you can see how a avatar looks like. Okay, we can see how a avatar looks like. Now, also, I want to see if Flex is working for us. So what now the solution was, though, in the AngularJSON, you just need to add this line, node modules, prime flags.css, and you should get this working really quick. Now, if you see our top nav, you can see that over here we have this auto chase, and we also have some profile icon over here. Now, if you see the component over here really quick, let's really go to the components, and over here you have this avatar. Just let's see, where is it? Yeah, in the MISC. And now you can also see how you want to do it. Okay, how you do want to do it. So let's say we want to have yeah, you want to have the shape as circle. Okay, so you can do it. You can come to your component, and the shape for this shape for this could be turned to circle. So it's CIRCLE. Let's hit save, and you can see that everything is turned to a circle. Now, for the sizing, it totally depends on you how much big, how much small you want. So different sizings are already over here. Okay, so it's XL, and you can also do it as large. Okay, so that's the large one, and I'm happy with this. For now, I will keep it as S. Okay, I will keep it as S for Siddharth. Okay, now I want some scenario where I can put this thing. Now for this, if I can come back to my landing page here, I wanna create a div, and here the div is going to have a class of grid, and then I wanna again create a div, one more div, where the class for me is going to be called a, and with call offset, and it's going to be 2. And with this, I'm going to place my this thing over here so that if I can see on my screen, it's a bit responsive, and it fits to whatever display I would really like to. Okay, so now I can also do something like this, that on the larger screens, it should be something like this, but as I approach towards medium displays or SM displays, my column should then shift to 10, and with the SM's sizes, my call offset should then shift to 1. So if you can now see that it's working appropriately as the one I needed, but then you can also shift it till XS. That's totally a small one. That's up to you how you want to deal with it. But for now, for this entire demo, I will be sticking to 10, just the 10, with something like 1. And then entire layout will then reside inside this. Okay, so I don't want any breakpoints for now, but it will be totally into into one aspect ratio. You can see how I feel about this. Now with this, I then have this thing. Okay, and if I can go to this, I can go to the theming section, and with this you have certain themings like how you want to deal with this thing. So many things are there. Okay, so many things are there. Now in the layouts, you can see whatever I'm doing. In the flexbox, you will get all the classes, whatever I'm trying to apply for this project. And in the grid, you will see, and so on. So many things are there. Okay, many things are there. Now, in the app component, I can place this route inside a div. I can also show you one more thing like this, and you see there's so many things. So if you do put some classes like this, let me just show you. Let's show you how you can also use this. You can see how the background looks like. Okay, and here you can say w to full, So it will take a full width. But with this, what I want to show you is if you go to the style.css file, here I grab everything, and for now I want to do a margin as 0, and with this padding also to 0, because I don't want the initials should be applied. So I'm keeping it in such extent that everything should be. And for the padding, it's obviously to you. But for now, I love to keep as padding 0 because I want to override with my own stylings. Now, for the heading perspective, you have the font, and with this, when we were trying to build our top navigation, if you see the top navigation, what we were trying to build, that top navigation is now going to also receive some padding to it. So if you do, let me just for let's just try to open it again. Yeah, over here, yeah, absolutely everything fine. If I try to do P2 and I hit save, you see some paddings are already applied to our display. Okay, that's really cool. You can further extend it to P3, and yeah, it's automatically applied. Everything is purely automatic. Now that means, and for your perspective, I want to show you something here. It's div and the width is full. Now this, you can get it from the spacing where I am having this margin and the padding. But if you go into the sizes, you can see what all widths are there. Okay, so W screen is VW. If you want, you can also place that thing. There's no problem at all. You can also use this property, and there's also the same thing for the height. So I can do height for the screen, and you see something like this: edge screen, height screen. Here you see that everything is now clear. Okay, yeah, and I also, yeah, so that's a bit thing. Now that's absolutely up to you how you want to design. You can also keep it as full. That is also really fine. That's up to you how you want to deal with it. And if you don't want anything, you can also totally reject this thing. Okay, that's up to you. But for now, I would really be appreciated if I can put something like this, or you can do something like width of full. Okay, so absolutely there are so many choices. Whatever you want. Okay, and with this you can also do edge full or the screenings, and everything is fine. Okay, you can also put screen. So with this, I'm sure that this thing is understandable to you, and you got a really nice idea of how we are dealing with this thing. And with the auto, it's always the height auto, how much you want it. Okay, so height auto is something like this, full is something like this, and different aspects ratios are also available. How you want to deal with the heights and all of those things. Now, once we have this really onboarded, you can also see which background color you need. There are so many colors, whatever color you want, you can absolutely apply those colors. For example, if I want to apply this BG Blue 700, let me just show you. Let's hit save. And you see there are different color and approach to this one. Okay. And with this, and with this, you can also apply the color skippings to your alphabets as well. If you want, you can also apply that. There's no problem. You can apply the color schemings as well. So there are lots and lots of options, and that's why I really like to use this one. Okay, there is the text color which you can use. So for example, I want the text white, so I can go to my top navigation, and here for this, I can then use the class as heading, and I can also apply this thing. So if I go, you see it looks good to me at least. Yeah. Now coming with this, let's now concentrate on building up some pages. Okay. So now with this, I want some functionalities now where I can use the PrimeNG card. So let's really go to our card component, and we'll now concentrate on having this card. Let's go to our app module here, and here we can now use this PrimeNG's card component, card module. Let's quickly save this, and it's always good if you can do some partitioning. So that means all the libraries should be up, followed by your relative imports. Okay. Now, in order to use the card component, why we want to use the card component? Because here we want to display something to use as some feedback. For now, first of all, I will try to show you in the base component, and then we will surely create a separate one for this. Now, in order to use the card, let's quickly come up and save something like this. You see, this is a card now. Now, because we are using a defined language for this app, okay, we are using some design language. So if you can go to the landing screen really quick, here we can place this card something like this. You can see that. Okay. Now, if I can hover to this component and I can do some inspection on this component, you can see that if I hover over this, you get some padding because we were really putting some padding on it. And if you remove the padding, it looks something like this. So for now, what I can do is for fixing this problem, actually, onto our top navigation, you want some padding, but that should be from the top and bottom. So I do PT3 and PB3. So it will be from top and bottom, or at least from bottom, it should be much more space. So this is how our card is gonna look for this library. Now this was about a card. Now if I can go to my landing page here, this one here, let's remove this thing. And also remove this header for now. Now the header and everything can be styled for this component. So you can see that here you get some knowledge about what all templates we have. So for the header, I will use a ng template like this, and in the template I'm going to go for a directive which is the template, and for the header as well you can utilize some different things, for example h3, and here we can do something like r offerings, something like this. And with this, if you see it, it reflects to a different objective. And here you can do again same class heading, and it will now look a little bit different, like the one like how we originally got our headings. So this one can be a h2, for example, h2 like this, and you can see how now this looks like. Now with this, you can also specify how much padding you need. So for example, something like this. You can also specify that the text should be in center. So you can also do text center. Beautiful, isn't it? So for now, what I need is it should be text left. And with this, you can also specify what color of this text could be. So if you can go for the text color, here I now want how my text should look like. So there are plenty of colors what you can choose from. Because for this, our theme is blue, we can choose, for example, text blue 400. And you can see how this looks. Based on this approaches, you can also play along with whatever you need. Suppose text 600. So this is the look for a card. Now let's say you are not happy with how the way this card is looking. So for this, you can also change the look, how it should look. Okay. So for that, what you can do is if you go back to this, you get a few ideas of what all classes are available with this thing. So for example, we have this P card. Okay, we have this class as pcard. So you can also override the styles for any of the library. What you want to do is for this, let me cancel over here. You can do styles, and here you can do something like pcard, and you can do, for example, border radius 12 pixels. If I save everything, nothing should get affected because we want to deal with this thing, but it should be something like I can give it a class name as card, something like this, and then you can uh, place this class as like this, and where you are accessing that thing. For example, I'm accessing over here. So here you can give it a style class, and the style class then get a guard. Oops. Let me just quickly see what all styles it's expecting now. This was our card, and we also have we saved the file over here. Yeah, it's saved, and here I'm expecting this one. I have this, and okay, I understood. My bad, wrong property, and it should be border radius. So now you can see styles are getting applied to this card as well. So like this, you apply styles if you want. So you can do it as 20 pixels, or for me, it will be sufficient if I use 12 or 14 pixels. Okay. So in the next, we'll try to list some cars to this project, uh, and I will now see you in the next session of this project. Hi there and welcome back. So, continuing this session, we already know how we created our top nav, how we are utilizing different libraries, how and you also get an idea of how things happen when you come up together with different technologies and you form it together to form one cool looking project. Now, come back to our project. If I go to my course really quick over here, we left where we learned how we can override some classes, okay, and then we can change the look and the appearance of our classes. Now I will now quickly go to CSA shadow, cool 93 beautiful shadows. What can make my class look good, my UI look good in no time. Everything can be built from scratch, but when you want to design something like this, it's better if you can deal really quick. Okay. Now see, I applied the blue color, but if I show you for the backgrounds, there are plenty of different source and different coloring schemes. What you can, it's not 100% that you wanna go with such colors. Okay, you can go with something like surface zero, and if I can show you really, uh, we apply to our app module over here. You can go something really dark. Okay, let's save this file. You can see it's the surface zero, the lighter shade. Okay, we can go with this as well. There is no problem. Okay, but I just want to show you like what all things are possible with this library. So for now, I will be keeping everything light because the main focus is for that library. Okay, so it can be text dark. Okay, or if you want, you can keep it as black as well. Okay, so we had our styles and auto chase over here, and we were now trying to design the landing page for this. Now in this card, we can obviously put some padding as well. This is our padding. If you want to have some padding to it, you can add uh, something like this style style class. If you want to add some padding, add the padding. That's absolutely up to you. And here we can then give some solutions. Okay, what we wanna our offerings, what all we offer. And seriously, according to this, I'm not so happy with the font which I chose. So I can also show you how we can change the font in any time if you want. Okay, so we know the app name what we kept is auto chase. So we can, sorry, we first of all need to provide what things we need to write. Let's go back. Uh, auto, geez, let's check. Choose the one which looks the most appropriate for your UI. It should be catchy and it should look semantic. Okay, so that's the first point which you should always keep in mind. For example, I can also use this one. This looks new, and I believe this could fit in my requirement. So yeah, I will definitely go with this one. So you know how I told you, you just need to go to your index.html file, and here just try to replace this last two things. Let's try to save this thing. Uh, okay, we got quite a bit of reconnects. So let's remove one duplicacy one. Okay, and this style, and we can then close this file. Okay, let's go back to our app. Let's go to this style and save this thing. So auto chase and our offerings. Perfect. There's no more problems. Okay. Now in our offerings, let's say we wanna now show some cars. So how we can do it? So in your component, there is a, component which is known as data view. So if we can go to the table where we have the table component over here, I know we are data view. So in the data view, you see how things can look. Okay, there are different things which can be developed, and for such thing, you can obviously import this data view module, and you can now go to the app.module.typescript file, and here try to now place this file and place this component here. And with this, let's come up with such ideas where I have this data view model. Now, in order to use this data view model, first of all, I will be doing it in the landing page, and then I will separate it out into multiple lines. So our offerings are, uh, we can do it as, we can also name it as what's new. Suppose choose your vehicle, something like this. Choose your vehicle. Okay, it should be totally like, okay, it should be like a statement, like what you want to choose. Okay, it should be like bold statement. So that's why I'm trying to represent something like this. Uh, BG red could also be there, but yeah, we'll see what we wanna in the typography. It's the text color. I will also change the text color according to the theming what I'm now choosing. So text indigo 600 could be a good option, or text indigo 500 also, but I will be good with this one. So let's quickly replace this indigo one, and here it's choose your vehicle. Okay. Now for the data view, for the data view. Uh, Now if we can see what all things are required, first of all, we need this data view. Okay. So for that, we need this data view component. Okay. Now the data view component requires this products. So how we can get this products? So if I can go, products can be of any category of whatever value you have. Okay. So it's a car which you want. So here I can do, suppose cars or automotives, automotives. So this is my data which I'm going to get from here. And now this can be async. So I will be using async operator, ASYNC. Okay, because this is a file, okay, and this data is going to be a observable of type cars. So let's keep it something like this. We have observable of type cars. Now we want to obviously make this type. So for this, let's create the type. How our cars are going to look like. So for example, a normal car, can have our car ID, which can be of type number. I can have the car brand, which can be of type string, or can be of type brand where you have different brands. Our car can have a model. So model I can also do something like string. Our car can have some price. So it can be a number and can also have some rating to it. So we can give some rating and which can also be of type number. So for now, this is a car and type cars can be a array of car. So I think you might understand now what I'm trying to say. So car is a type where cars is array of cars. So that's a collection. And here I get this value. Now, here, first of all, I will try to create a private get cars and then I will turn it to a service. So get cars then returns a observable of operator. And here I then have a array, and in the array, and I can say that this returns observable of type cars. This returns an observable of type cars. Now with this, I want to return some cars, and the cars could then have a car ID of one, let's say a car of car brand. Basically all these properties are required. Okay, all these properties are required, so something like this. Where car brand, let's say it's Hyundai, Hyundai. Hyundai model can be, for example, let's give the model of Varna. Let's give it a price can be, let's say, 14 lakhs 50,000. Let's give it a rating of, out of 5 it's 4.5. Okay, so this is my first car, and with this I can also give it, assign this value something like this. So it's this dot get cars. So here we can hit save to everything, and we can also look to our project. Now this says error type cast null is not assigned type any, and this type null should be something like that. And here it's clear that we have the value, right? And we know that we are always going to get the value. So for that scenario, we can have this operator and that results to, yeah, data will always be there. Now we can come back. Now we have that data with us. Now here we want to now show our information something like this. Okay, and you have different ways of showing it, obviously. Now with this, I want to display my information. So for displaying the information, now I do something like, first of all, ng template. I want to show you step by step like what all things are going on. And here I can do some ng template. And instead of products, I will do let car. Okay, let cars. Because eventually I'm getting cars inside that. Okay. And then let's copy all of these things because these things are just the classes of styling. You can use any styling, but the main motive is how you transfer the data from one page to another. Here we have something like this where we are just dealing with some classes, and here what the iteration, the actual cars what you get, and here we can do as car, the singular. Here you can just provide the iteration. Okay, and Okay, so I think we left one of the divs. That's why it's complaining. Let's hit save, and okay, we will soon show some data, and we can have our image. For now, we don't have any images, but soon we can show them. For now, I will leave something like this, but understand, I don't have any data right now. So eventually, I should see something blank on my page. Currently, I don't have any data. So you see this only a blank image, but soon we are going to have that data. Okay. And then I can have all of these images. Let's again get the data. Now, when we are trying to build some project like this, it really takes a lot of days and a lot of duration time because there are so many aspects to think when you are trying to build a product. But this is a quick look at how things can go. Okay, so it should be car dot brand. I can do car dot brand, and I think I'm again missing on some div structuring. Let's see where I'm missing. First of all, let's try to format. Okay, so this is a div, three divs, and we are also crossing everything, but we don't need one div over here. Let's save and let's format. Let's see if we get the brand. Okay, soon we will get, no problem. And then we need the rating, and with the rating, this one. And all the components will also be required. But first of all, let's see what all things we have right now. Okay, now here, we are going to have our images very soon. We have our column justified and everything is here. But now we want this brand. So how come we can get this brand? Let's see. Now the title name is car brand, first of all. So you should correct this value to car brand. And if I save, you see you can get the letter as Hyundai. The same thing which I told you that you will soon get everything what you are trying to list. Okay. So brand is here. Now with brand, you can also list out the values for it. So I'm also going to provide the ratings soon. Okay. So here I will then provide this something like this, where now I have different things, but with this, let's just do car rating. It's a read-only property, and the cancel is false. Now you need the rating module, you need the tag module because those things are different. Okay. So I will let you know just few things. We'll import those components and we will use those things. This type of development is something like where you import and use. Okay, so it should be understandable now. And severity, we don't have any severity. So right now we'll just comment this thing, but we need the rating module. And for that, we can have this rating module. Now I have already a good practice on this library. So I know that it's going to be the rating module. So how I can get that thing now? It should be somewhere here itself where it says rating. So rating. It will be somewhere here itself. No problem. You can definitely find it. It's this one, the rating module. So you can copy this thing where I told you all your modules should be at one place here, just like this. Pass it, and now there are no problem. You can use everything now. The errors would be gone. Just we need to now pass the values, and if you see such errors, then it's simpler that you need to import the common module. You also need the forms module in order to work with such scenarios. Okay, so you see now everything is resolved, and car rating is the one case. And if you want to cross check your properties, you can check. You have a car rating, you have a car model, and the car ID as well. So if you can see, you see the rating is also applied to this one. And here it says Hyundai, but instead of this, I would directly want to give some name, something like car brand, or I can say car model over here, car model, and it's Varna. Okay, and here is my car brand. And the same goes for the tag system as well. If I show you the real use case where we were using that component, let's quickly go to our data view again, where we were using that thing. Here, it was such scenarios where we were using the tag and something like this with the rating and the category and the tag system. We can obviously use this. There's no problem at all. Just what you want to do is it's the inventory status and the severity. And the severity means which color is it. For now, I won't use any severity. I will use it later. But here it's the tag system, this one. So here I can do car, okay, and then I can name in stock or out stock. So I can now say if this car is in stock, I can give two more things, car image, because we obviously need some image, which is string, and you need to understand that this property can be optional. With this, I also want car rating, sorry, car in stock status. So for that, I will turn it to Boolean property. Okay. So if the car is in status or not, we need that thing. Okay. Or we can give it two properties, two things, which is in stock, or another property can be out of stock. So two properties, two types can be there. So car in stock can then return me car in stock and then return what all values are there. So I will now say that it's in stock. Okay. So car in stock can now be listed over here, which is car in stock value. Now it complains because this module is still not present. So for this, we can again go over here, and this can be tag module. And the tag module comes from the tag system. Now this tag module can also be again listed in the import section. And with this, we can then in our this file in our landing page, we can then save everything. And you see, let's quickly save everything. Yeah, everything is saved. Uh, let's quickly get the data saved. Okay, and you can see it shows in stock. Now, this the word can be a little big for this one, okay, to accept. But obviously, you can style this component as much as you want. Okay, you can style it as you needs, as you want to show it. You can style it. Uh, the value car in stock, or you can say something like this. If what I really personally like is instead of just placing the values like this, like I have over here, you can turn this property to Boolean, and you can then say that this is true. And if that is true, here you can say if this is true, then you say something like available. Otherwise, sold out. Something like this. You can also play with such scenarios. Okay, let me just increase size a bit so that you can see that things are visible onto the screen. Okay, yeah, styling will improve, but for now, it's important that we come up with each and every element, whatever is there. Now, the categories there, our tagging system is there. Just now, we want this last one. So, that last one is just try to format the values, and where you end with the tag system. Here we have this last values where you deal with the car price. The property is car price. The property is car price. And then you need this button. If we can directly say when this will be disabled, if our car in stock is false. And here we can go to the file, we can do save this file. Now if we see, you see that our things are now finally showing. And about the button, you need to have a buttons module and only then this will work. So for that, we'll go to our app.module file, and in the module file, now you need to import the buttons module, the button module from the PrimeNG itself. You can see now the button module is also showing. Okay. It's the icons which you need to do, which you need to install, and then only they will show. More on that will come to the next session of this video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. So hi there and welcome back. So in our project Auto Chase, we were trying to build choose your cars and how you are going to show those cars on your screen and how to manage in a real Angular application. And then later we will convert our entire data to the backend to the NgRx world, the Redux side, and we'll then see how things behave. Okay. So it's basically a car purchasing app with some UI interface to it. So coming back to our screen over here, we have the code where we were dealing with such scenarios, and we tried to wrap this thing with our data view component. Now you also see that we are having some components. So for that, you need to go to the icons module. So coming back to this page here, you will find a module which is named as icons. And if you want to search that thing, you can go over here, find icons, and you can go and search for this. And you need to now do npm install prime icons. So that's an easy job. You can go to the PowerShell and hit enter after typing this thing. And this will then, okay, so because these are also the latest, let's install this thing. Okay, now once you have this thing, you need to copy this and come up to your style.scss and just paste in the top so that you can utilize those icons. Once you have that, you can see the icon will be visible. And this is very zoomed. That's why you see this version. Otherwise, it will look something like this. Now let's do a more iteration to this so that we can see how our more cars would look like onto this page. So for now, I'm grabbing some few more cars. Let's say a total of 4 cars. Let's save. And now I will show, for example, Honda, and this is Civic, and then it's Kia Seltos, and then we have MG Hector. Okay, so we have different class files. Okay, so I will come up with again, and we'll have some few of the photos. Let me show you. Now, in the assets folder, I have some images for the Civic, Hector, Seltos, and Verna. Now, these cars I'm going to attach. So let's see how we can get these cars onto our component file. So if I close everything and I can go on and look for this styling, I can now go for my landing page over here and can now have another properties, which is car image. Now the image resides in assets folder, and in the assets it's varna.png. PNG. Now with this, can have this everywhere, and just want to replace the name. But before that, let's test out if this thing works onto a screen. Now car image is a property, and if I can go to the landing page here, it should be in our images. Here we can remove the source from here, and it's now car image. Let's quickly save this file, save this file, and let's see if our name is correct. Okay, it's capital V. So wherever we have this one, let's do it a capital V. Let's hit save. You can see we are trying to get the image for the same now. Okay, we are having the same image for everything. Now here we can do for civic, it's civic for Hector, it's Hector, and sorry, for Hector it's Hector, and for Celtos it's Celtos. Let's hit save and you get everything. Now if you can see it's responsive, so on each and every platform you will get this thing to look differently. Now let's say our Civic and Hector are out of stock, so we can say our Civic is not in stock, and the Hector is also not in stock. So with this, you see the price, the add to cart option is disabled for that. And with this, I can also go for the severity, where yeah, in the P tag, I then want to go with the severity, and I want to check if my car is in stock. Then I want to show the success badge, and if it's not, then I want to show uh, the danger, the red one. So you can see available and this. Okay, so this is how I have now confirmed on this. And I also want to show one more thing. If you are not happy with the way things are looking, where we are showing a card, let's go for the data view component. And in the data view, you can see how these things are being shown up. Okay, we can also, if you come to the very last of this page, come to the last, you see we have this data view list, grade, header, content, many things are there. Okay, you can even play with all of those properties. But with this, if I can do the inspect, I can open up the inspect tool. With the inspect, I just then want to in the inspect can see there is some shadow to it. You can also remove if you want. You can remove this shadow if you don't want anything. Okay, that's up to you how you want to deal with this. There are also some border radius. You can also play with that, and it's the and you can also view which class is there. So the card, the this is on the image. So here, according to me, what I can now do is I know that this image is having some stylings. So for this image here itself, I can do something like style dot box shadow, and I can set it to none. I don't want any box shadow. So a none with some important sign can remove the shadow. So this is just a overriding of what the styles were there, but you can see this really is started looking good to the eyes now. Okay, and if you want, one more thing can be done to this. The place where I was styling this file here, I can then just comment on my box shadow, and now this is the actual look what it should look. Okay, again I want to do it something like 20 pixels. Okay, and if you want to have the shadow, you can also keep it. There is no problem, but there are plenty of other areas what I can do for the shadow. The shadow, okay, I will use something more natural, more appealing. Okay, Yeah, I will use this one, and now it's fine. So we are till here. Okay, and if you want you can also choose, or if you don't want you can do, you can, it's up to you, whatever you want you can do. You can do drive the way you like, something like this, and you can just keep it something like this, or you can see check out collection, whatever way you like. You can see check out collection, and here we can see okay what all we have got, or check out cars. We can keep it simple as well. So here we can check out all the cars whatever we like. Okay, so so this is for this session. In the next session we'll see how we can now get all the cars using our NgRx store. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So hi there, welcome back. So till now we have seen how we can use PrimeNG to deliver the power of ultimate components powered for Angular. And we also saw how we can create a list of data over here. So if we can directly come up to our project folder and then navigate to our source in the app, in the components, and in the landing page, here were the entire code what we were doing in our landing page over here. And in the component.ts file, here was the data what I was applying to it. Now, before moving directly to the NgRx world, I would like to do one thing. I will go over here and create a new folder, which will be, let's say, car list component. So this is going to be a car list component. And over here, I will now create a few files, which is car list dot component dot ts file, like this. Now we know how to create an Angular component. So what I'm going to do is import something from, and that from is going to be add create Angular slash core. From the core folder, what I now need to do is I need to import the component one. I need to import the component so that that component can be used to create this brand new component. So component is here. Now this component is nothing but the decorator, which then accepts few things. I need to give it a selector, and the selector would be app card list, app car list. And then here I will show you how you can do it with the template attribute as well. Here you don't need to supply any additional things, but yeah. So styles, and the styles will be something like this. And here I can do something like export default component. This is car export default class car list component, something like this, and where I can then do something like this. Now I know that my data for this component resides here in the p card list, this entire thing. So I will grab this and paste the entire code in my template attribute, something like this. So this is another way how we can do few things like this, but it's absolutely up to you whether you want to go with the approach of HTML file or with the template as well. If your code is not so long and it's manageable, you can always do it in this template attribute as well. That means your code and your template file resides under one place. So that is also pretty much cool. So there is no problem in that as well. Now, here, what now we want to do is, this is our landing page, and you know that the data will be coming from here, right? And this is the card list component which I want to take advantage of. So here I will create the index.ts file. So it's index.ts file where I want to export something from my newly created file. So it's a card list component file. And in this export, I want to then grab my component. Okay. And I will do something like default as export. Now, what I can do is from here, I can then do export everything from this folder. So everything from this folder is exported to the real world. And then you need to register it to the app module in the declarations file so that all the import statements can utilize or the important modules can be utilized by this component as well. So when we go over here, we just want the automotives and rest everything is right on the place. So here, this automotives is going to be observable of type card. So it's a good idea to now separate out these types into a separate folder. For this, what I will do is here, I will now create a new folder, or for now, for this particular section, I can do something like common dot types dot ts. So this is my types file. And here, what I can now do is if we go to our component file, these are the common types which we want all around our app. Here, we can take the advantage of this common types and we can do something like this. And now, both of these can be exported from this file. So that's our car type if you want for singularity, and that's your cars type over here. So like this, I have exported this types from this file so that this can be imported into another file, whomsoever file want to use this data. Now, I know that this is going to be from the source common, so I've imported those files. And similarly, what I want to do is I know that there will be some input to this component, so I will do at the rate input, which again comes from at the rate Angular core, and the input would be something like this. Okay, let's just fix this. Yeah, and one something like this. Yeah. So this comes from RxJS and this comes from something like this. Now this component is totally prepared and this will show up whenever we try to supply the data into it. So now what we now want to do is we want to grab this selector and then place this selector over here. So I place this selector somewhat like this, and now we have the selector in place, and just now you can see checkout cars and no result found. That's because till now we don't have any data. And for ease, what I will now do is I will supply the automotive something like this, and when you save, you will get all the data again rendered. So you can see now the landing page is much more cleaner and nicer, and it's now more compact. And if you want to just iterate and check about this topic, you can just go and check out whatever you want. Even though you can also play around with this thing where, let me just show you a kind of thing where you can expect another input, something like this. If I do at the rate input and I do something like public title for this, and the title we know that it will be of type string. Okay, so we can grab the title and we can then place the title over here. Okay, we can do it something like this as well. So it's our title. With this, I can save everything from this file, and don't forget to just format your code a bit. And now what I can do is I can, if you want, you can supply the title. If you don't want, you can't. You can also omit that thing. But let me show you. You can grab the title and you can do something like awesome. Oops, awesome automotives, automotives, something like this, and you hit save, and you see awesome automotives over here. So many things can be done with this approach, but let's keep it simple. Like I'm having here the title, and I also have the availability and the sold out status and add to cart functionality as well. So till now we have achieved this look. Now with this project, what we are going to do is, and if you can stretch this, you can see that it automatically do it's a responsive kind of layout. Okay. Now, another idea for this would be that I should now plan with this data. And for uh, some reading purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm interested in changing out the background color for this file. So if you know where from where we could keep the background color, that will be obviously from a app component. And if you don't remember, if I can show you over here really quick, we were using the Prime Flex here. This was our UI utility which we were using, and from here you can go to the docs right from here, and here you will see the background, and now it's up to you which color you want to choose. So there are plenty of options which you can choose. uh, okay, so surface ground border is one of the types which I can show you if I input this color as a background for this file. And with this, I also format my code a bit. If I can bring you back to the code, nothing happens because actually, let me just check. Okay, surface border, surface ground, and this one, surface name theme colors, surface ground color like body background, surface section, surface ground is a background. Okay. And here we also have the hover effect. Okay, we also have the hover, and with this we also have the BG color as well. So if you notice that how they have used the color is like, you if you have supplied some surface and all of those things, but additionally, let me show you one thing. The main thing is right now our landing page is in action, right? So if this is in action, then obviously the color what you supply over here will be reflected. But here in our case, you can see that the color is being reflected over here. You can see the white and the tinged color over here. So it's up to you where you want to supply that color. If you supply it, that will be obviously up to you, up to your choice. For this, I will let's say go with Hover Orange 700. Let's say for example, let me just show you how this looks. So you can see how this looks. Okay, when I hover, so that's the hover effect. But currently, I don't want hover effect. So it will look something like this, but it's according to your choice of preference. Any color, whichever color schemes you like, you can put, and you can make this project exciting. Okay, you can make this exciting as you want. This is BG Alpha 60, so I will also show you this background as well. If I can go back, you can see that how this one looks. Okay, so there are so many things. There are alpha 90s also there, so we can also try the 90s tone as well. So it's a much more darker scheme. Okay, it's a much more darker scheme, and with this you can play around for whatever colors you want. Like let's say alpha, this one is there, and in my automotive card, the card list component, I can then supply this property over here uh, in our style classes. Because PrimeNG automatically uses the way it wants its to look, so you can see that it applies to a some certain extent, but then also it totally depends like how your card should be looked, and basically all these themings are just something which takes some time. So I'm helping you out to a great extent, like how you can apply all of those changes to your project. Okay, and in the car automotive, so here as well, if I do something like style classes, I prefer like, okay, style classes are their way of applying additional classes, but for some component it works and for some it won't work. So that's a totally different story. But for now, I will just keep my card like this, and the auto chase, the title what we have over here, okay, that title will obviously receive some, will receive a different color for this one. And for that you can just go text, it was indigo, you can do something like text. And I told you, like, for if even if you want some typography, so typography has their own text colors which you can pick. okay, which you can pick. It always will give you whatever you want, like text blue 300. So let's try to copy this and place it and hit save, and you should get your title being rendered. It was in H2. Let's see if I have applied everything right. So it was the bluish tone for the title. Okay. Let's see if any other color is working around. Okay, I understood because our heading is grabbing another styles. That's why this won't work. So if we go over here, let's check our heading exactly what we are doing over here. So actually, the stuff we are doing is in the white tone, but we want to shift our logo color. So we were looking in the wrong component. Actually, we should go in the top nav, and in the top nav, then you can do give it a color like let's say cyan, and now this is what it should really look like. Now, coming to this, there are so many things what can be applied. I will go with text blue gray for my landing page to make it a bit more exciting. So let's go to the card list, and in this card list, you can apply those styles over here with the blue gray, and with this, I come to my desired look. Okay, now coming to this, we'll see how we can shift this to our NgRx world. So this component is absolutely fine. There's no problem. But here, what we are going to do is in our landing page.component.ts, we want to grab the data and provide it from our effects now, from the effects. So for this, what I will do in my app, I will now create a new folder which is named as store. So this is the store. And in the store, I will then create a new file which is going to be index.ts file. Okay, let's rename this. Make sure you spell this all correct. And in this, I will now create a new folder which is known as effects. And with the effects, I will also create a new folder which is the reducer, and with the sorry, it should be a plural. So I will also place reducers, and with this we also need another folder which is going to be actions for now. So these are our actions. So we have the effects, we have the actions, and we have the reducers, and also we can then have our selectors in one place, selectors. So in the actions, absolutely you need, in all of these, you need this index.ts file for our import strategies tool. And in the actions, then you need something like automotive dot actions dot ts file. In the effects as well, you need automotives dot actions dot ts file. In your reducers as well, you need a new file which is actions dot sorry auto automotives dot reducers dot ts file. Actually here it should be effects because we are working with the effects, so effects, and here, and another one, it should be action, it should be effect, and then this should be reducer. Yeah, and then in the selector you need another file which is going to be automotives dot dot selector dot ts file. So with this we have a clean setup like how we are going to do with this. So coming from this, I hope you understood the entire thing, and now we shall see you in the next one where we'll start working in the store and we'll migrate everything from our landing page, all the data from the landing page to the reducer world. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next session. So hi there and welcome back. So in the previous videos, we gone through different stages of building this product, this project. And somewhere we saw how we deal with things in Angular and how we can form state and how we can use the PrimeNG component to make such things available. Now, I absolutely agree to it that things can be further down more, can be interesting, can be more stylish, and can be more futuristic. But the main idea behind this is to use how you can use the power of NgRx to transform the data. Now, creating big projects, creating beautiful projects requires time. And as per a time, because we need to wrap it in a countable sum of hours, that's why whatever is shown to you is absolutely good looking, yet powerful with the technologies which require to be developed are all mentioned beautifully in this project. Now, if we come back to our course over here, we have this auto chase where we were having our awesome automotives where we also got some data from this. Now, what the ideal way of now bringing up this onto the screen would be uh, if we go to the source folder, to the app, to the store, to the effects, we created each and everything. Now, in the actions file, we need to think of what all actions do we need. So, according to me, there should be a on-load cars, on-load automotives, on-load automotive success, and on-load automotive failure. So for this, I need to then import something with that something is create actions from NgRx store. Number one thing. Then I can create an action which is known as const on load automotives, automot, automotives, automotives is equal to create a action. And before creating the action, I need to first of all make something like this where I can do suppose we can have which component we want to do. So if we go over here, it's the landing page and the car list. So I will do car list component. The component name is car list, and inside this we want to do on load automotives, something like this. And based on this, I also now want to do on load automotives success. And this success will also grab the same format. First of all, we need to provide the component name. So it's car list component. And here I can do on load automotives success. So this is my success flag for this. Next, it could be const on load automotive failure. Let's say we deal with a failure. So in that case, what we want to do will be listed over here. So it can be call list component on load automotives failure. So this can be a failure one. So these are my in total three actions what I think would be essential for our car list to work. Okay, so I have listed all these three. Now we can make the actions using on load. Let's say you have something like automotives action. You need to just suffix the action word with this, and then you can call the create action function, and then pass in the action what you have created for that purpose. In the same fashion, we can do on or load automotives success action, and this will be also assigned to the create action function where we can then assign our own load automotive success, something like this. Followed by this, we can again do on load automotives failure, suffix the action word, and then we can again create a create action thing over here. and we can then pass in the onload automotive, something like this. And this is the action what we were looking for. Now, in order with this, what we need to do is we can also do something like export, and we can export these actions mainly. Okay, we can export these actions now. And with this, we also want to export these constants as well. So I will be separating out something like this. Let's copy this thing, and I can export all of those. Excuse me, yeah, over here. Cool, perfect. Now here you can see we have created the actions, and with the actions we created their create action pointers as well, and then those are also exported from the file. Now the last thing what remains is create action. This create action can then have something known as props. Now the props as also comes from now the props also do come from NgRx store, and the props expect what data you want to provide in. So we need to call this as well, and we can provide something like cars. And the cars can then totally rely on a car type. So if we go into the car list over here, we then can have this import car from common.types, and we can then have those types over here as well in our actions. So these cars can then be applied over here. Okay, so on success, we are giving it something like this, but on failure, we need to allot it a message, and that message is gonna be of type string, and the message can be failed to load cars or something like that. So with this, what we have done is whenever there is a load success action, at that time we are going to provide it with the cars data, or you can give it something like auto, or you can something call it as payload. This is my payload, and I'm also gonna provide, let's save this file, and on failure I'm going to provide it a message, and with this you can also call this finally. Okay, so these are our actions which are created for this project. Now let's rush directly to our reducers. Now, if we come to the reducer, I know for this reducer, in order to work with this, I need to import again something from @ngrx/store. Now, as we have seen in our lectures, that something is gonna be create selector, sorry, create reducer. Okay. Now, this reducer requires something like, we can do it something like automotive reducer, and then we can pass in the create reducer function just like this. Now this create reducer function requires an initial state, so we need to then assign an initial state to this function. This initial state, I'm going to then do const export const initial state, and this initial state is then going to have its own data. For now, I can name it as cars, where I know the cars could be, for now the cars are totally blank. We don't have any cars. And this initial state needs to be passed in over here. Now, initial state also needs to have a type, and the type for this could be, for example, something like initial cars, something like this. And it could be cars of type cars. Okay, and you can also denote that this is okay, this is cars, totally fine. And you can just assign it oops, if I can spell this thing correct. Okay, and this initial cars can then be applied something like this. Let's save everything so that we have a clear idea, like okay, everything is still working. Now once this is done in our reducer, we get this on function, and the on function totally expects a action, like on what action you want to do it. Now let's say I want to do it on load automotives. Oh, sorry, it's on load automotive success, something like this. So on load automotive success, let's simply do something like this. On load automotive success, on this trigger, I then want to give it a callback function, and this callback function is then going to accept the payload, in my opinion. Now, if you see the on, if you hover over this, you can see that this on function requires a success. Okay, and that's my message over here. And with this, it takes a state and the thing. So I can say that I will have the state, okay, and here I want to then return state, but with this state I want to then provide the payload, whatever payload I'm getting from that cars, something like this. Let's totally do it. An on load automotive success. Oops, we need this on load automotive success action. This one is required. Let's replace this thing, and now it's fine. Yeah, let's save this file. Now over here you've seen that if this is a success, then whatever I'm getting in the payload, I will be supplying to this cars. First of all, I will take everything and then I will reassign all of these things. But here it should always be something like this, that you grab everything from the payload, and I then will also spread in the state dot cause. So this is the beauty of the data, where you process the car's state as well as you also take the data from the payload. So in total, all the cars will be available to you over here. So this is the state manipulation, what is happening here. And from here, I can then export this automotive reducer, something like this. Now, once this is done, I would then like to go to the effects, and here I know that again for this to work, I need to import something from the effects, and that something is going to be, let's say, NgRx effects, something like this. And from here, I can then grab create effect. Now, I also know that this is going to be a export default class. I'm gonna export a default class which can be automotive automotive effects or effect or effects, anything. Okay, and then I can also have a constructor where in this constructor I'm going to privately have the action, and this action also comes from NgRx effects, this one. Now here I can then create on load cars, and this can then grab this dot actions. Let me just bring it to a public property, something like this. And here I can do that this dot actions dot dot. And in order to make this work, first of all, you need this create effects. So here, let's grab this create effect first of all, something like this. And then inside this, providing a callback, which will then accept this action. And here you can do pipe to grab all of these things. Now here you need the off type function, where we want to then supply like on which type we are going to perform such thing. So it can be on load automotive success, something like this. So let's import this thing here quickly. And with this, now we can do something like a exhaust map. I can use the exhaust map because I want to exhaust everything and then directly deal with such things what I'm going to do. Okay. And with the exhaust map in action, or you can use the map, you can use anything, but here I'm using this one. And with this I want to then supply the initial data, whatever I want to bring up, I can supply that. Now here, this exhaust map, this one should then have a pipe. And let's see what this pipe is going to look like. Now, it depends like what all data you're providing. For example, I'm using a from, and I want to make like from what I want to create the observable. Now, let's say the input can be the initial data what we were having in our component. So let's go directly to our car list, and in the car list, if you see, we were getting the data from our landing over here. So we can again grab all of this data directly. Let's grab this data. Okay, and let's remove this one real quick. Let's go back to our effect here, and let's get rid of this off and directly supply the copied data like this. And let's also call this off. Let's remove this thing. So exhaust map, what it's doing is it's grabbing the data, okay, and it's simply supplying this thing. So you can see that this totally becomes an effect for loading up our things. And here we can then do the pipe, and in the pipe we can supply the data. Okay, we can supply the data if you want. If you want to manipulate something, you can do it. If you want to do something, you can do it. There's absolutely no problem in this behavior. There is no problem. What we are doing is we are just applying it the data back. And here I will also update the keys, the IDs for this. So let's update the IDs for this data, something like this, and one more thing like this. Let's quickly save everything. Yeah, we want to solve this thing, I know, but this is how you do it till now. Now in the pipe, let's say I want to simply do some console logs, or you can do something extra stuff as well. Like let's say I know that I'm going to get my data, so here I can do console log for the data, or any other processing work can go over here. But once you are happy with your code over here, I can then also do the catch error thing. So because I know that there might be some errors, and in the catch error now, right now, I want to do it something like empty. Let's format the code. Now, another thing what I can do is you can also return back the data. Let's say from here I'm getting data. Let's say I want to map. Okay, I want to map, and with the map, what I want to do now is it should be here, right? I want to map my data, and how I want to map it. Let's say I want to return it to suppose if we grab those actions over here. So I want to return my data back to this success section here. So here what I can now do is let's go to the effects, and in the map I can then import this thing. Let's quickly import, and here I can provide payload my data. So this effect completes like this. Okay, so let's save this file. Now, the main thing is now our all three files are prepared. In the next video, we are going to see how we can connect everything and fire up this app, and yeah, things can get then completed. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. So hi there and welcome back. So till now we have seen so many things in this project, and we were dealing with the effect, the reducer, the types, the actions, and we were now going to connect everything. So in this entire connection process, it depends, totally depends whether you want to create a separate selector file for this or whether you want to create a separate initial file for this, but that totally depends how you want to deal with it. Now, the main criteria would be that we have some effects, side effects, which are there in the create effect, and we want to link everything and then load it up directly to our application. How we can do that, let's see. So if I can switch back to my code editor here, if you know that we are grabbing this data, now, first of all, we need this effect and we need to register it in our app.module. So we can go to the app.module, and in the app.module, let's quickly grab the store module, and in the store module, the for root, and in the for root, we are going to provide the data. But we also want to have effect module, and in the effect module, we have the for root, and in the for root, you can register this automotive effects. So let's register. Cool. We were also having a reducer, so we can also register a reducer for this. So if I can go to the reducer, and we were having this automotive reducer, if we go back to our app.module, in the app.module, here you see this thing. You can do something like auto chase store. So this is our actual store where we have the entire data, and we can link this with this like this. Let's save. Now, this is the initial data what we are going to get. Okay, this is the initial data what we are going to get. And in order to get this thing, now what you need to do is, let's come back to our component. Here, let's quickly construct something like this. And here you can now do public or a private, but let's do private store, private store, and this will then get store from NgRx. And here you need to then give it the type, like what type is it. So if we go back to our app module, you saw that it's auto chase store. We are having this auto chase store, but the auto chase store is of type, you need to see, is of type this one. Okay, is of type this one. So you can also grab the data from there. There's no problem. Initial cars. So we can say that this is of type initial cars. Let's quickly save this thing. Now, if you know that this is of kind this, now absolutely what we want to do is we want to do this dot store dot, and we want to select, and what we want to select depends. Now let's say here we get the data, and we want to give it data dot auto chase store dot cars. So this is our initial cars what we were really excited to give. So everything is there. Now let's see what's the error is. If we can go and inspect, if we can go to the console, so it's like we can't resolve all parameters for automotive. So more on this I will tell you, but why is this? Because still now we haven't dispatched any action to load those cars, right? So if we haven't dispatched any actions to load those cars, how they are going to fire? So let's see how we can dispatch such actions. So if we navigate back to our action, actually we wanna dispatch this on load automotive action, and if we can go to the effects, this should have fired when I have this in place. Okay, okay, on load automotives. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's come here and let's implement on init hook for this one. On init implements on init. So on initialization, now what I want to do is I want to call my effect to run. So it's ng on init and make this a public function, something like this. And then you can do this dot store dot dispatch, and we can dispatch such action. Now, from where we can get those actions? If you go back to your action file, you know that such action exists over here. Let's come up here, and here you can call such action from this, and you need to call it something like this. Now, if we hit save, hmm, then we have one more of this such kind of error. And let's see if we have really saved everything. Yeah. So let's see how we can solve this thing. So ideally, what you should have done is whenever you try to create a effect, just place this at the injectable, because after all, this is a effect. This is an extra service to Angular. So this should then receive this injectable. Okay, and this injectable, if you have seen, if you have learned the Angular, you also provide something known as provided in. Here you don't need to provide it, because already in our app.module we are providing it through here for root. So that means you don't need to do anything for this. So if we can just simply close everything over here as well, let's close everything from here. Let's go over here. Here you see, this is how things get working with the power of NgRx. So if you go over here, you see that this is having that data, something here. And if you want, you can also show something like loading, cars are loading. You can also prepare some loading functionalities. But this is the actual functionality of how things work in this. Now, moreover, there can be more functionalities to this app, where we can add the product to the cart. We can add the cart. We can make purchase screens and all of those things. But more on those things could come in later videos. Okay. So this is how you can create and maintain your NgRx with your Angular, and this is how your each and every data should get listed. And please make sure whenever you perform NgRx with such things, it should be always a pipe. And there can be some cases where you want to subscribe it manually, but then please make sure that you create another subscription for it, and then do unsubscribe that subscription whenever you do on ng on destroy. Otherwise you will have some memory leaks, and that will cause issue to your application. Now, so this was the real deal for this listing component. And with this was pretty much it, how you prepare such components with Angular and NgRx. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So hello everyone and welcome back. So till now in this course journey, we have gone through really tough concepts, but I guarantee to you, if you do practice and if you give your best shot, everything will be possible for you. Now, the example which was taken to clearly explain how Angular works with NgRx through some simple and the beginner's level steps were the auto chase, what I named it. But basically, I wanted to show you a list of the cars which you can show nicely, very nicely to the displays, and how things really works when you deal with such application. Now, lots of creativity can be indulged into this application, but yeah, because as this is just a example one, it's a small project. But yeah, if you place each and every module, if you do different things into this product, it can be really vast, like in payment integration, so the database connectivity, or stuff like filtering, sorting, and different processes for purchasing the product. So that can totally rely. Now, one thing what I would really like to do is, on this page, let's say we want to add a details button. We want to add check out the details. Now, when I click on this checkout details, what should happen? It should take you to the next page, to a description page, and should show like, okay, this is the thing which was required to work on. So for that, let's create a new component. Let's get back to our code editor where we are going to create a new component. And from those new component, we can then carry forward our logic. And whatever stuff we are going to do is purely based on Angular and the Redux word. So for that, what I will do is in my components folder, I will create a new folder which is known as description, or I can say as automotive dash description, automotive dash description. And under this, I will now create a new file which is automotive dash description dot component dot ts file, something like this. Now let's create this component. We already know we want to import something from @angular core, from @angular slash core, something like this, core. And once we have this, what we are going to do, we are going to import component, component, and on init hook. Now, once we have all of those things, I can then decorate this component where I can then pass the selector for this app, and the selector could be app automotive description, automotive description, something like this. And with this, I also want the template. And as always, I'm going to create the template over here itself. So this is my template. And also I can give my styles URLs, but right now I don't want to have any styles. And then I can do export default for this app, export default, automotive, something like this, description, implements on init, on init, and then can call something like this, but we want to export default a class. This is the class data structure. So automotive description implements this. Inside this, then I want to have my constructor. It's a constructor. And basically with this, you will also learn how you can play along with multiple effects and multiple reducers. And also with this, we want to make a public ng on init lifecycle hook. So this is our newly created component, and we want this component to get, let's say, we want this component to get navigated or to show it anyhow you can do it. Okay, but for ease, we can simply use the routing. Okay, so that you also know how to deal with concepts such as routing in these kind of applications. Great. Now let's create a index.ts file which can help to import this file out of this module. So we can do export default as automotive description. And yeah, one more thing, just don't forget to concatenate component or suffix the component word so that we clearly know that okay, this is the component, and we can now simply use this word over here, and we can then export it as default from this automotive descriptions file. Now once this thing is done, we have this app routing file where we want to do something like, we want to deal with something like where we want to deal with path, and the path will be description. So the description slash car ID. We want to place the car ID. So for the car ID, we can do something like car ID because we are dynamically going to provide the ID, and based on that ID, we are going to deal with the data. So this is the dynamic segment of this URL where we are going to deal with car ID. And for this, I want to then supply the component. The component for this hook would be automotive description component. So let's import this one from here. With this, I will then click on save all to save my settings. And with that, with this, if I can show you, if I click description slash one, it will have, you can see this navigated to a different route because I'm having now description one. So similarly, we can opt for different functionalities now. Now with this, I want that my vehicle, whatever vehicle I'm displaying onto the screen, that should now have a button where I can then provide the values. So if I can now go to the landing page, and in the landing page, there was a car list component. In the car list component, somewhere around this, I need a button where I can say, okay, I want to go over here. So for this, what I'm going to do is, as this is not a standalone component, then I need to simply go to the app.module file and I need the buttons module. So with the buttons module, now what I can do is I can navigate to the car list, and under the car list where we have the pricing below this, we can then have a additional button here where I can then do dev class. I can play along with the classes where let me just close this div really quick. Okay. And in the classes, I will then write flex, flex, row, flex, justify, center, align items, center. Okay. And with this, I then want a button, and then this button could really carry out the classes for it to get described. And for that, you can see moreover on this attribute is there for PrimeNG to turn this into a stylish button. We can also give it a icon if you want, but for me it will be a normal simple one. And here we can do different classes, and if you're not sure, you can always go to the PrimeNG website over here. And in this PrimeNG website, if you go over to the components, here you will find a component known as a button. You can go to this button, and we are interested in this link kind of button because there are already too many colors onto the screen, and we don't gonna mess our UI. So for that, what I will be really doing is I'm gonna grab the link kind of button. So this is my button where I can say link is equal to true. So let's quickly grab this P button where the link is equal to true, and let's hit save. And you can see that now as soon as this get refreshed, we see this link. Okay. Okay. So let's also quickly do something like this so that you can see where, see over here it will look like this, here like this, and here like this. So this is our route where instead of link we can then do something like checkout, and with the checkout we can concatenate the name of the car, and the name of the car you will find from car.model. Oops, yeah, this is car.model. And here I can finally concatenate this car.model. And with this, if I can save everything, you can see we have this name. So checkout Verna, we can say checkout Verna, checkout Civic, checkout Seltos, checkout Hector. Or we can say checkout more about. You can be very precise, there's no problem. You can say checkout more about, and with this you can do something like this: check out more about Varna, check out more about Civic, check out more about. And with this you can also play along with the colors if you want. So for example, I have a property known as severity, and in the severity, if you're not sure what colors to write, you can dig into this and you can select any of the color which you want. So there are the success, secondary, primary, info, danger. So many colors are available. Let's say if you want to go with the success, that's a greenish tone. You can obviously play with those colors, but as this being a link, the colors I think won't be modified. Okay, the colors won't be modified. But for now, we'll stick to this. Okay, yeah, we can. What we can actually do is here where we have the car in stock button. There you can put. I can show you how this works. And yeah, just one sec. Here in the rounded one, E button success. You can see now it turns to green. Okay, so this is how it works. So you can also do it something like warning. With the warning, it will look something like this. Okay, so orange tone, but for now, this will work. So yeah, now the things are looking more nicer to me. Okay. Now with this, if we click on checkout more button, we want to head over to some other link. So for that, what we can do is in the car list component, we want to then use our constructor. And in the constructor itself, we want to provide router, and this router will then come from router, something like this. Okay. And once this is there, we want to then create a public function which will say on checkout, on checkout selected car. Okay. And then this car should grab just the car ID, which is in our case a number. And based on the number, we can construct the URL. So it's const URL is equals. And what would be the URL? The URL would be slash description slash, and here it should be the dynamic car ID. And once you have that ID, we can do something like this dot router dot navigate navigate, and with this we can then provide the dynamic segment, or you can do navigate by URL, that's also there, and just provide the URL for this where it wants to navigate. And now what we want to do is we want to just have this button and set it over here over the checkout. So we can bind the click event for this, and with the click event we can then bind this function where when we call this function over here we can pass in the car ID. So it's car dot car ID, and if you're not sure for all of those properties, you can definitely check out the car type what we have imported from here, and here you will find that we have this car ID which is coming along. Okay, so car ID. So if we can just hit save for everything what we done, and we can then format our code a bit. Now you can see that if I click on this, I have the car ID 1 over here. If I then click on this, I have the car ID 2, for example. If I click on check out this, I have 3, and if I check out over the Hector, I then have 4. So like this, things goes and goes on. Okay. So this is how you can navigate with the URL type kind of thing. And this is how you should do every time. One more thing which I want to show you is if you go to the automotives, you always want you always and always want, because in this time you can directly do something like this, because you know that the state is totally empty, you can do directly the car's payload. Okay, here it's fine. So if I go to checkout, if I come back, everything is super secure. If I can go to the this one, everything is super secure. So this is how you deal with this thing. In the next session of this video, what we are going to do is we are going to retrieve this ID from here, and then we will use our reduce our store to get the real description and show it onto the display. But before getting on to that, what we can do is we can navigate to our description file, and we can create a small area like, okay, how the description is going to look like. So here, this is my template, and over here in the template, I can then define how my description will look like. So for that, what I will do is, I already have the car. Okay, the car is already available, and here, let me show you another interesting thing. I know that this car is here, and with this here, I want to then dynamically get the data. So all of those things will come into a bit, but with that, one more thing which is required to make you understand. If you go to the PrimeNG over here, if you go to the if you can go to the component section. Okay, in the component section, you can then see that there is a card component, which we already saw many times. So we are then going to navigate to the card component. And in the card, I want you to grab this card. And if you're not sure, you can also go to this one. And here also we have utilized this card. Okay, this card. You can also grab this card. There's absolutely no problem in it. And once you have that card, you can go to the our automotive description and just place this component like this. Now this says that it doesn't know about this thing, and it's being a it being a standalone. You can do something like standalone to true, because yeah, this component not relies on others to be or another thing what I recommend is other thing what I will recommend for you to do is you can also make this component to be available to the declarations of app.module. So that thing is also available. So for the declarations, you can go over here and then dynamically import this component from the app components. And now you have this onboarded. Now once you have this, if you can see this component, you will see that the card is already here. Cool. With this, I will also then I will not style this like this. But what I will generally like to do is I will create a div where I will then have a class of grid. Okay, I will have a class of grid. With this grid, I will then create another div. A simple and sweet div, where I will then have a class of call. Now this call is of 8. With this, I also have offset set to 2. And from where these classes are coming, let me also show you. If you go to the prime flex, if you go to the prime flex, there you can see that it's a CSS utility. And in this, you can then go to this 3-bar structure over here, this 3-bar structure, and here you can go for the docs. In the docs, then you will find this 3, and then you can go to the grid system, and then you can go to the grid system again. So here you will find these properties where I'm now going to use offsets. So it's call offset to, and what this will do, this will centralize everything. Let me show you. Let's again click on formatting. Let's hit save. And now you can see that according to the page size, this will get adjusted. If you can see this, it really looks good. And now what I want to do is on the MD display, it will be called 8. And just on the MD display, this will take effect. Okay. So that's what I'm planning to do. And more on this, you can find like, okay, how much you can do it, what all things you can do it. Different things are available for different perspective. So I said that till let's say till large displays, this is going to be the situation. But when I navigate towards a smaller situation, let's say access, then what I do call 12. where I then manage my offsets as well. And the offset for this would be called offset 0. So I don't want any offsets if I meet the zeroth condition. So that is also the case. But for now, let's keep it really simple. And what I will do is I will do it 1, and here I will do it till access, and I will also align till access call 10. Let's hit save, and now you will see, do we have access? I don't think so. We have the sizes still, I guess, still SM. Okay, they have till SM. Fine. Okay, fine. Till SM, they have the size things. So no problem. SM will work also for us as well. Now, if you see, this is the thing, and because we also want cool heading for that heading, what we can now do is if we go to the font size, font styles, so there are different styles as well if you want to see, but we are only interested in the color schemes. So for the color schemes, let's say I want to grab a really cool looking green color. So let's say if I choose this one, or I can also choose the cyan, text cyan, this looks good, or text orange is also looking really good. I can then come up, oops, over here. I can then format this file, and here I can then create another div which is of class called 12 because I want maximum spacing. Let's also quickly close this div here in a h3. In a h3, I then want to provide the class, and the class would be text orange, and I say about, and here will be car name, and we'll see how to get those details. But what I presume is here I will be getting the car name. Okay, here I get the car name, and for this grid I can do everything to text center. Now it totally realizes if you want the grid to be text center or if you want just this columns data to be text center. That's absolutely on to you. Okay, and with this grid I also provide this grid some padding alongside. So yeah, this is about car. So more on this we will be doing in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next session. So till now, it's been a really amazing and enjoyable journey across the board. We saw really many things of how you can manipulate on the screen and how you play with all of those things. Now with this, we come over here where we want to now show about the image, the car, and different things, different stuff. So here, what I'm planning to do is, if I can go to my coding screen again. Okay, so here is my card, and if you see that in the template, I want to now show the card image. So I can grab this to be just really quick on this tutorial. I can now grab the card image where I want to show something for the image, and then yeah, I also want the header and subheaders, so I will also place this stuff. And then I want some description, and on the description, after the description, I also want a footer for this for this conclusion, for the conclusion, where I can do navigate back and stuff like that. So this is the actual stuff what I have supplied over here. If I can go back, I can see the changes. Okay. So here is the stuff what I'm preparing for. Okay, it's just like I don't want to specifically provide these things. I don't want to provide these things. Okay, I can just remove this thing. I will style my own buttons for this. But yeah, stuff like this. I want something which is more precise. For the text, I will then supply some classes, and the class could be P2 to get some padding. Okay, I need some padding so that my text stands out. Okay, and because right now the stuff is really big, if I go to 100%, this is how it looks like. Now I do agree that about car should have received H1 in this case. And if I hit save, yeah, now it looks more fine. And with some padding also, I guess. With the padding, this looks good. And we can also put, now we can also put P of 4. So this is looking more good now. So with this, we have this page where we have this about car and data where we are going to get the data, and then we have this back button itself. Now, according to this, what all should I receive is just the car over here. If I can go to this file really quick, I need an input. I will be needing something known as, okay, here itself, I then need a store where I can get the store, something like this, store, and this store will be stored, something like this. And currently, I don't know the type, so I will leave it just like this. But here, then I will have a public selected car, something like this. And this selected car is then going to be a observable. Now with this, I have the selected car, which is going to be an observable of type car. So it's observable of type car, for example. So this is of type car, where I will then be using a select car. Sorry, not the select car. I will be grabbing the store from here. So this is my store, and from the store, I will then use the select method. And in the select method will go our selection. Okay, so this is how it will be. And then I expect that about car name should be listed over here, where I can then do something like this, where I select something like async. And let's quickly grab this thing. And here I should then get the car model, for example. It should be car model. And once I have the car model itself, I can say the header could be, or I can say checkout, check, check, check out this amazing car, where I can then have about selected car.cart model. And I can say something like powered or developed by, and I can place developed by car.brand, car brand, something like this I can do. And here I can have the description itself, so it can be car model dot. Okay, right now I don't have any description, but soon I will be adding the description. But for now, what I can do is I can place a car description. I will soon bring the car description as well. But here I then want the link to the car. So it can be car image, something like this. And with this, this is how it should look like. Okay, this is how it should look like. In the selectors, we'll soon have the selector. Uh, but before that, what I'm trying to do is, here is everything regarding the car. Okay, now let's go back to this file. Okay, to this file where I can then dispose what actual ID I will be sending. So for that, let's go to the actions file, and instead of this action automotive actions file, I will then do a new file which is description.actions. It's going to be description.action.ts. Now, once I have this file, I can then quickly import something from my NgRx store. So that something can be at the rate NgRx store, something like this. And here, what I will then do is I will do a create store, or sorry, creates action, just like this. And then I will describe what all actions I need. So one can be on load car. So normal car, we are loading on code on load car information info is going to be something like this, where I can say automotive description is my component. Automotive description, where it's going to be description, and I will also place the component word over here, component, something like this, and I will say on load car information. So it's in for information, something like this. Now with this, I will also now grab on load car info success, because with the success, I'm going to retrieve the data, and it's then going to be automotive description component, something like this, component on load car information success. And with this, you can also play something like on load car info failure. So it can be a failure, where I can then show something like this, and I can say automotive description component, and I can say on load car information failure. So it's failure, where I want to deal with such failures. And then comes our on actions, so real actions. So it can be on load car info action. So it can now be an action, where I will then create a action, something like this. And here I can then grab this action over here, and this creates an action creator for me. Again, it can be a on load car info success action, where I will be now dealing with success action. And here I will then use this callback, this function again, and I will pass in my success constant, which I created just now. And then with this, I will be also then creating on load car info failure action. So this is my failure action, which is going to be again a create action. And here what I will be doing is on load car failure, I will be then dealing with this. Now, this success and the failure can receive some props, and these props are the inputs to this action. So here, what I need to do is, here I need the payload, and the payload will look like a car type. So I will be supplying the input over here, where it will be something like this. Here I will now also receive a car description. I can have a car description, which can be of type string. So of type string nature. And here I will then accept a TypeScript type, which is partial, like this. Now, once I have all of those things in the failure, I get this thing. But when it's a failure, I won't receive any car, but I will receive a error message. Now, this error message can be of type string, like this. Now, once I have everything onboarded, I can then do an export for each of these constants. So for making export, I can then grab this variables like this. I can again place it over here. One will go on line 8, and the final one will be those action creators, which I need to export from this file, so that these action creators can be available to our effects and reducers. Now, once this is onboarded, we can create a new reducer for this file, where I create something like description.reducer.ts. Now, for creating the reducer, as you already know, we need to import something from our @NgRx slash reducer, or sorry, from store. And once you have this thing, we can again come up here and then do a create reducer thing like this. Now here I will then create another thing which is description reducer, and this description reducer will then receive the actual create reducer where I need the initial state. Now how my initial state could look like, I will create a exported constant for this. So it's initial state, and this initial state I won't be uh, ex exporting this one, but it's a description initial state. So description initial state, and how my description initial state could look like, let's see. So here, and also I need to describe the type for this. So I can say export type description initial state, state, and with this I will then give a type of how my initial state would look like. So for the initial state, it should be somewhere where I get the following values. Now, if you're not clear, you can go to the automotive over here and you can then get what all things you need. For me, the data would look something like this, a normal car where I get something from this car. So let's import this thing. Now, one thing which we actually forgot to enter in the description, whenever you are trying to load a car information on that as well, you need a props, and this props will then receive a single car ID, what car you want to load. So I can say ID, which is going to be of type number. So I need the ID, and because of that ID, I will be able to load the information for that ID. So if I can go to the description folder over here really quick, I need to filter out the data which is available over here, this one. So for this, now what I can do is I know the data will be available. So in the description, in the description itself, I can do something like data for the car is currently set to blank object, or I can say that it's null. There is nothing in the data, and I can then place it over here. Now with this, we use this on operator, and this on operator then accepts a action, whichever you want to perform, like the one I show you over here, like we were having this action. In the similar fashion, we are going to grab the real action where you want to supply the data. So it's on load car information success, and now this will have a callback where I can get the state, actual state itself of the application, and here I do get my data, whatever I'm supplying from there. If I can go to this action, you see I have a payload. And occasionally, now what you can do, not occasionally, but it's a rule. You get this thing and you then need to supply the entire thing back to the original state. So I can return something from this where I first of all pull out everything from the state, and after pulling out everything from the state, I grab the car property which is available, and then I can supply the payload to it. So let's see. Okay, we messed up with the brackets. Let's quickly clear those, and one will go over here just like this. Let's quickly format the code so we can see. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, let me just check. Let me just do it once again. Here is state, here is the main data, and what we do, we will return something where I then have the state, and for the car property, I will then do data dot payload. Now it says that, yeah, you have something like this, but in order to remove this thing, you can do something like this. It's clearly straightforward. And now this thing should be exported from this file. So this thing should then be exported from this file like this. And once you have this exported over here, now what I need to do is it's clearly up to you, but for this effect also I will be using an effect because I want you to make perfect in this scenario. So it's a description dot effects effect dot ts. Now for this effect, you know that we are going to import something from, and that from is going to be an NgRx effects thing. Now, here, what I need is create effect. And you need to first of all have the injectable, and then it should receive a export default description effects, and then you can just call it okay, it's a export default class. So this is a class. It acts as a service, but not to worry. And in the private here, we can then go on and call a public. We are then going to use the actions which we receive from here, the actions, and this is going to be of type actions, and these actions come from NGRX effect. Now here you need to create something like onload car info dollar is going to be of type create effect, and then this create effect takes in a callback, and here you can do actions dot pipe, and then this pipe will have of type because we need to give it what type of uh, action is required. So here we are dealing for onload cars info, and we can then import this from here. Cool. Now once this thing is done, we can use the exhaust map to exhaust every other observable, and then we deal with our real thing in action. So here, for now, what I will do is I will be grabbing everything from the automotive data, which was over here like this, similar to this kind of action. So it will be something like this, where I then import this from here. I will move this extra thing like this, and once this is the exhaust map thing going on, I can then make pipe from this thing. And with this pipe, I will then call the map method because I want just the data, or I can just call the filter as well. So it can be a filter as well. So and now this filter receives the data, and then I want to just provide the data where the ID. Okay, I just want to provide the data with the ID is exactly matching to what we require. So that's the concept what we need to fulfill over here. Now with this, either filter or either map, and I think map is a pretty common use case, so I will be continuing with map for now. And in the map, I can then filter, I can do filter where I get the D, and I can check if my D dot car ID is equals to the ID which I'm getting from this behavior. So here in this, you will also get the actual payload what you receive. Now with this, also in this exhaust map, you can receive the real action indeed. Now this action what you receive over here can be similar to something like this, like this action can then get. And if you want to see, if you can see over here, this exhaust map, this have these have the entire data. Okay, so the entire data in the sense is, if you see over here what all actions you are providing to that action in the description itself, over here you need this ID, right? You need this ID, this one. So in order to get this ID, you know that there's just this one available. So here, what I can really do now is uh, this is the action type what I'm getting over here. Okay, and now I can totally give it action dot ID. So both of these things should be exactly similar, and for my safety purpose, I will be converting them to numbers. Okay, and whatever data I receive over here will be then supplied back to me. So if I can save everything, now the last thing what remains is I wanna do a multi effects linking and multi reducer linking. So here I can then grab this effect, call it, save it, and the another one would be the description reducer. So it's the description reducer what I receive from here. I can grab this reducer and link it to my app.module. So here is my one of the reducer, and another could be let's say the description store. This can then link to this description reducer. Let's quick fix and import this file. And now each and every file should be fixed. Now this is our official app state. Okay, so that means even if you were grabbing the data in the landing page over here like this, now you should also know that there is also a description reducer in the official state. So it's a description reducer where you can do description initial state. So it's a description initial state which is coming from here, and this entire the same state will then also be reflected over here on this file. So this store can now grab the actual state, actual data, how that is being utilized. Let's import everything. Quick format. And now this should grab what part of the data you want. So if you see what we did in the landing page, we just grab the data and we grab everything. The same scenario would apply to here. So I can do data dot description reducer dot car. So this is my car what I require. If I hit save, so I can see that there is some problem with this, and it's in the effects absolutely, because there are the two things what we get in the effects. Okay, here I denoted that there is going to be a type and there is going to be a payload as well. So generally how I should configure this would be two things: the type and the actual payload itself. So it can be payload.id, and I know that it's there, it's going to be there. So for now, just to remove this thing, I can do something like this. Yeah, id could be there, but it says that it doesn't recognize if id exists on this type, if id is there. So for this, I can then say that it has a id of type number. This one have id of type number, but now it says that yeah, we did something like this. So the main action would be directly do another um, what we said, another destructuring. But if you feel this is going to be too complex, another layout could be that you simply provide, you come back to the payload. Okay, come back to the payload, and with this it will be simpler to remove the error. For now you can do something like as, and id is going to be there. So I denoted that yeah, I know that id would be there available inside this flag. So this is how we deal with this one. Now with this, we have this exhaust map where we just map whatever payload we are getting, and with this, we get the ID itself, and the ID is supplied, and to the onload car info success section, we have supplied this payload where data.find, we find for the exact ID, the match, what we get. Yeah, okay, all other extra imports I will then remove from this file. I will hit the save, and it's good. Now, the last thing what remains is from this, we need to call the constructor itself. So in the constructor, we'll then have one more private router from here. So private router, and this is activated route. And here, what I'm now going to do is really good. Here, I will then have the router dot param dot. I will then do the subscribe, and with the subscribe I know that I am then going to get the actual params. So if you see, I can then prove you that yeah, I'm getting something from this file. So console.log and the actual params I can now show you. If I save this file and if I go to the inspection block and if I go to the console of this element, uh, yeah, you see this, we received this car ID. Okay. Now this car ID is required over here. So what I can do is inside this, I will do this node store dot dispatch, and we then want to provide action. So it's on load car info. We want to load the car info action, and we then want to provide the actual ID. So ID resides in the params car ID. Okay, so let's hit save quickly. And once we hit save, then we see that properties undefined car and we cannot read something like this, something like that. Let's actually save everything and then get back to this file. Okay, so if we see we have some error over here that okay, we can't read something from here, something from here, these are undefined, set car, everything is said to be undefined. But here in the actual store, we have this type, we have the data, and it's supposed because you see we aren't supplying anything to this one. So what initial steps should be into your reducer, get the data just like this, and then instead of such thing, the main thing could be that you supply the default state. So let's say for now the ID is 0, the brand is null for now, the model is set to null, image is set to null, description is set to null, the card price is set to 0 for now, the rating is also set to the 0, and it's set to false. So now, and also we can remove these question marks because we don't require those things now. And here, the actual thing should be that with this, we first of all take everything from the state.car, and then we spread everything from the data.payload, because there can be anything which comes and it says that car which is declared here, this is type string in null is not a type null, type string in null is not a null, because again all the things which are string should be blank. So let's quickly save everything and let's see if we have some more errors, and now it's somewhere here. Now for this, the actual solution could be that there is some problem with your effects. In order to solve this, let's catch that thing. Now here it can be the ID. I know that the ID is going to be there, and with this I also have, let's say here is my payload in the action, where I know the payload is of type ID of type number, and with this I also receive the type itself, and the type for now I will leave it to any, because I'm not interested in the type. I will directly grab this payload and then we'll link this ID. So let's hit save. Okay, console.log this. Let's check what comes from here. So here we have entire thing in here, this one, because that comes from this thing. But the main idea the main idea is, which I should have done, is here. Before this, I need to check this action, like what is there in the action. Okay, action itself. So in the action, you can see that I get the ID and I get the type. So instead of this, it should be something like ID of number. That was missed over here. And in here, it can be something like, this, where I have that action.id. So it can be action.id, something like this. And let's it and check if the ID is there. If the ID is there. So payload is this, and we check for the ID itself. So with the ID, we need that, yeah, something is there. So here we are getting the ID and we are getting the ID as well. So everything is fine. We can remove this thing. We can also remove this thing. We can hit save, definitely. And there is absolutely something which is not coming correct. Let's see what's the problem. Is still there. Can you read properties of undefined car on this file? And it says that, okay, so okay, let's see if we have registered everything on our app.module. Yeah, it looks like we do have everything onboarded. Okay, and for this, I will also show you another way. In this file, let's quickly do a console.log for the store. Let's check how the store is looking right at the moment. Let's go to the console and let's check what we get. So the store has a state. Okay, store is having a user manager, is having an action observable. Okay, have this one as well, have the sources on board, and in the state we have different things. In the value we have the auto chase and description, and in the description I have this car, whatever I have selected. You see, we are getting that thing in here really, but somewhere it should be something like this, like, okay, from the data.description I need that car. If it's there, then do show me that thing available. And for this, we have also subscribed to the entire event and we are checking out, okay, we should receive the data, actual data. And with this, I will also do that. This car should only be visible, this thing should only be visible if this is available. Okay, so this is how things should go on, what I feel. So, so with this, what we just did is we pull out the ID from the router params. And once we have the ID, we assign it to the local ID variable, and then we dispatch the store to load the car for only this one. And then on NG after view unit, we are just checking out on the store, but that's not required. Totally, that depends if you want to check something. But for now, I will keep it blank. And now you can see if I want to check some information, and this is also my description. The effect is console is doing a console log for that particular scenario. So if we can go for this description, this should then have a width, and let's say the width for this can be 200. Okay, or let's say this is going to be 200 pixels. That totally depends. Let's say I do 20 em, so it will be 20 em, or I can even do as a pixel. Totally depends. And if you want to use the classes, that's also there. Or if you want to use the style attribute, that is also present if you are interested for that bit. So if you want to do some styling, that is something like you do style dot width and then you can specify the width you want to set. For example, it's 10 em, so it's 10 em. Yeah, so you can see the header is now accordingly working out, like, okay, what all information you want to provide on this. Now that depends. So with this, I can specify what the size should be, and if you don't specify, then it will remain something like this. Okay. So that's the actual image and how you work with all of those information. Now let's see if I'm on 100%. Yeah, but now you can play around. Okay, and if you go back, you have those images, and we can see what images were there in the car listing. The same image size we can keep for this as well. So if we check out over here, these were our image size here. Let's pick this up. Let's go to the automotive description, and where we have those image, we can get the same classes. And let's say we pick uh, Celtos. So you see we get the same criteria over here itself, the same information, and you can remove the shadow, the blocks. You can remove the shadow. We don't require any shadow for this, and we also don't require border around for this. It's safe, and you have a clean plate now. So description, and if you want some descriptions, it's really handy. Just what you need to do is you can go to the actual in fact, but more on this, we will be wrapping in on last part of this video, which is coming next to it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. So hi there and welcome back. So in the previous video, we saw how we were dealing with all the pillars of NgRx and how we were dealing with different parts of the Angular while we were trying to develop something. And in the later part, we ended up seeing out, okay, we were displaying some checkout page and all of those things. Now let's grab some common information. I will show you how you can display those information into such application. So over here, I am now going on for. So here I will now show you a short description of how you can deal with the description, and rest of the things then it will be good if you try to do by yourself. If I can go to the description, here in the description, let's set some description for this Celtos car. Hey, the Celtos, and I have a key which is now known as the car description. And in the car description, I will then provide the entire description in this template level thing. So if I hit save for this one, it's there. And just what I need to do is personally, if I can get back to this page and if I come back, still I need to display the description on my screen now. So if I can go back to the automotive description file, here we have this space where we want to show the description itself. So here we can do something like selected car is in pipe here, and you just need the car description for the traversal. Now you see you get a description as well for the car. You can display more things. You can display the images. You can display, let's say, a video for this car. Okay, so there are so many things what you can do. So just one bonus thing what I want to display for you would be a bonus 2 minutes of extra feature for this. So let's check what is that. So with this, now for the code, what I wanted to show you is how you can make your app look more exciting, how you can add more features to it would be something like, because see, building out any application is a different perspective and scenario. Basically, you should understand that if you are going to build anything, no one in the world can build the entire corporate level project within 2 hours or 3 hours. It's just a practice to show you, okay, whenever you try to configure or develop such projects, these are the essentials what you will be needing, and this is how you navigate here and there to find the resources to get things done, whatever goals are there in your mind. But with such projects, this shows how different things from different aspects into the front end come together. can be happen that in future different backends, or let's say different API, third party API, the sign-ons, the Microsoft sign-in, different things can configure into a one project. But this is a cool idea of how you can deal the Angular 16 with PrimeNG and with extra stuff like PrimeFlex alongside the NgRx, which supports the latest out of the box with our multi-reducers, multi-selectors. We also checked out how do you select the data, the async pipe, the HTTP, the routing, and everything is there. So if I can show you the extra thing, if we can go to check out more, we can click on this and you see over here how beautifully it shows you the actual data. So let's check out Celtos, about Celtos developed by Kia. You have some information and also you can see this video which takes you to the YouTube channel. Okay, so this is how you should be seeing the development, and it's really fast. And this was the entire practice of developing a car list application where you can go on and add your creativity, add more things to it. But this is how it should get started. So this was pretty much it. Thanks for watching and keep supporting, and I will see you in the next course.